Never lose your position.
Word to God.
Men that you think they hard, really ain't hard. Frontin' like they men, but they straight broads. These broads, they are taking the men's role in charge, roles reversed. Never lose your position. Pleasure and pain to bring me into this role. Two parents, two minds, two directions. My past more than their son wasn't fun. Raising a family of six, that's 6 kids, 666 was the number that was taught that we avoid. In the church, preacher banging our heads with the Bible, video games, cars, money and hoes. Was our idol blowing weed smoke back of the church. Me and my virgin be sinning when it's winning. Same niggas sucking the wind. Fast forward through all the bullshit, the men, women and children I've murked. And losing sleep and really knee deep in this. Fuck who I hurt. I'm in the dirt, stuck in my ways. Crime really pays and nothing changed. Pain and fury is all I know. I'm waiting for those bright, clear blue skies. Just close your eyes and bear witness to none other than the general criminal. The mentality, thought. Edmund the General, also known as the Brand, coming at you guys again. I want to start this video off first with saying, LC Smith, this is going out to you, okay? I found out yesterday when I was in someone else's chat that you actually watch my videos, or you watched my videos, or something along that line. It doesn't matter to me. You see my videos. I remember seeing you comment under one of my videos a long time ago. It doesn't really matter. I want you to do me a favor, okay? Stop watching my shows. Unsubscribe from my channel. Do not come here ever again, because your views and your commentary are irrelevant. I don't need your views. You are not that smart, dude. You speak of a grade 2 level. Your thought process is still right here. You are a grown man still stuck in a child's mind. You do not read. You do not comprehend basic logic. You don't understand basic math. You don't even you don't even understand the difference between there and there. I don't need people like you around my channel. My channel is only for specific individuals who I would mention in an actual title. It's for a group of people who actually are interested in reviews, a group of people who's interested in commentary and laughs and music. Okay? There's always going to be some form of education that's in my videos. You are used to drama. You are used to people fucking with other people's lives. You are used to people who are degenerates like yourself, and I get it. Stay with them. Stay right here with them. Don't come up. There's no way you could come up here, by the way. You are going to be down here with the rest of them. Down there. Down there. Don't come over here. You're not welcomed. That goes for you and the other degenerates who's into causing causing issues in people's lives. Calling the cops, making false police reports, talking nothing but shit the entire day and thinking that it's cool. Getting paid to troll and stuff like that. I can't do it. I'm sorry, but I can't do it. Please don't come over here. You're touching 50, bro. This is unacceptable for a grown man to cannot know how to read, LC Smith, who has low comprehension skills, who has not graduated even high school, doesn't read, no math, no education, no geography, no history, no economics. You are here, bro, with the rest of them. So, Now that we got that riffraff out the way, let's talk about something uplifting, educational, and inspiring, and also shocking at the same time. It was for me. This picture that you see on the screen is Caesar. And what we're going to be talking about is defining leadership. I want to show you where we got our leadership mentality from, because it came from this guy right here. Now, Caesar was not a Greek. He was a Roman, and the Romans invaded Greece. The Greeks were the first civilization who documented systematic study of human behavior. I need to say this again for the people in the back. The Greeks were the first civilization, the first, who documented systematic study of human behavior. Now, if you want to sound smart, write this down, what I just said, and then repeat it. The Greeks were called intellectuals. That's what they will be considered as, intellectuals. And they're from the Hellenistic period. Okay? The Greeks were thinkers. And they were very dangerous because they were very good thinkers. Let me say that again. The Greeks were thinkers. And thinkers are very, very dangerous. Thinkers will always rule doers. Let me say that again. Thinkers will always rule doers. So the Greeks are the first ones who produced all this material on human behavior. Matter of fact, 3 of the most famous leaders from that group, Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. Socrates, Aristotle, and Plato. They were Greeks. They invented things like democracy. I know that sounds familiar to you. Democracy. Democracy, that's what it means. It means they invented something that we call today as democracy. They're not from the Bible. That's from the Greeks. They're the first ones to develop the concept of citizen. Matter of fact, the Greek word for citizen, write this down, is the word polites. 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 Politics. That must sound familiar. It must. They're the first ones to study human control. They're the first ones to document manipulations, mechanism, how to control humans. Greeks were fantastic thinkers. Fantastic thinkers. I know it sounds like I'm bigging them up, but we got to put respect where respect is due. The Greeks were fantastic thinkers. And they're the first ones to invent what we call leadership theory. Let me say that again. They're the first ones to invent what we call today leadership theory. Now, I'm getting to something very important here. So let me give this to you now. Like, I studied this in college and I was shocked. And then when I finished college, I kept on reading. And now I am more shocked. I discovered that the Greeks actually still rule the world. Imagine that. The Greeks are ruling the world from their grave. I don't know if you guys seen that post I did before on my community wall where I put up this song called What More Is to Live For. It's just a
a little instrumental that I put together and put out there. The Greeks are ruling the world from their grave. As a matter of fact, dead men rule the USA. They rule Australia. They rule the UK. They rule Canada. They rule the Bahamas. They rule everything. Dead men. Dead men. Their ideas are so powerful, they left it after they died. They invented democracy and its ruling of the whole Western world, including the Caribbean. This is crazy work. Keep in mind, dead men are ruling your country, okay? My country, the one that we're living in right now. They were powerful. Now, the Greeks, when I studied them, they had all these complicated ideas about human authority and human power, and they studied, They studied the concepts of how to control crowds. Let me repeat that again. They had the capabilities, and they know the concepts of how to control crowds and how to manipulate people, and very interesting concepts. The Greeks believed that leadership was a product of natural endowment. Write that down. And what does that mean? The Greeks believed that certain humans were born endowed with certain unique characteristics. So when you're born, there's certain characteristics that you're born with. And if you weren't born with these qualities, then their conclusion was that you were created by the divine God to be a slave. Let me say that again. The Greeks believed that everyone was born with certain qualities. And there's certain qualities that would be bestowed on you, unfortunately, that would put you would be labeled as a slave, but that came from God in their conclusion. They believe that. So it doesn't matter what you think of yourself. They would study you and they would see if you have those natural endowments. If you don't have them, it doesn't matter how many degrees you get from college. It doesn't matter how much time you put in studying or anything like that. You are simply an educated slave. So if you're not born with the endowed qualities, you are born a slave. Another one of their beliefs is this: leadership is a product of birth traits. The Greeks believed that you were born with certain unique traits that were automatically leaders. You're considered a leader by default, just based off of when you're born. If you weren't born with these traits, you're automatically a slave. So their society was very, very neat. No traits, traits. No traits, traits. It's black and white, plain and simple. It's either you have it or you don't. Slaves, leaders. Let me give you an example, because when I read the traits, I became a little bit sick. One of the traits were, if you were born with sharp, pointed nose, blue eyes, fair skin, like white, and thin lips. They just written in their document, you were born to be a leader. Let me repeat those traits again. You need to have a sharp pointed nose, blue eyes, fair skin, like white, and thin lips, automatically, you're a leader. Wow. You got dark skin, big nose, big lips, hair is not blonde, eyes ain't blue, you're a slave. So if I was in Greece 2,000 years ago, there's no question that I would be a slave. This is what they said. So you know what this means, right? Just behave yourself. You were born a slave. The Greeks believed it. The third thing that the Greeks believed in are very interesting. They believed that leadership was a product of providence. Providence means the gods chose you to be leaders. Therefore, you were not chosen by the gods who destined you to be followers. You guys know what destined means? You guys know what destined means? It means you ain't got a chance to be a leader. You don't got no chance to be a leader if you were black. You ever wonder why the Greeks had so many gods? They were polytheists. It's a big word, right? Polytheists. You guys know what that means? It just means many gods. It's the Greeks who had gods like Zeus and Apollos. They were Greek gods. They had gods like Diana of the Ephesians and all these weirdos. Respectfully. They had hundreds of gods. Matter of fact, the Greek rulers believed that they were sons of the gods. That's why the word Hercules is a Greek god. Son of a god. Son of a god. All them stories you hear, these Greek myths. So they're saying that those who were born are not chosen by the gods, as opposed to serve us who were chosen by the gods. In other words, if you were born to serve me, that means you got a big nose, black skin, non-thin lips. If your lips were big, you were my servant. If your hair was not blown and it was nappy, you were a slave. So this is serious. This is the philosophy of the day. Putting on a suit and wearing a tie doesn't impress them. I want you guys to listen to what I'm saying right here, okay? This is back in the day philosophy. This is the Greek philosophy. 2 categories: slave, leader. If you're a well-dressed slave, you got a PhD, none of this matters. Either one or the other. Somewhere in their twisted mind, they're all still sick with that Greek thinking.
Can you take fudge off?
It's just baffling. The last one, the Greeks believed that leadership was a product of charismatic personality. You'll find in the writings, you can go on the internet, you type in charismatic personality, the Greeks will come up. The Greeks invented the word charisma. That's a Greek word. You know what it means? Write this down. It means gifts of the gods, plural, or giftings of the gods. Charisma, gift of the gods. Charis, gifts, gods. Charisma, gifts of the gods. In other words, the Greeks believed that the people who were born with certain gifts from the gods were automatically leaders. Let me name some of the gifts they wrote. Flamboyant personality. That's a gift from God. If you're up front, you were born to be a leader. If you're quiet and very, reserved, you're born to be a slave. Second, quality that they say is charismatic is the ability to speak. They say that that's a gift from God, a talker. So if you're quiet, you don't talk like your girlfriend or your significant other, you're born to be a slave. This charismatic trait is one where you are communicated like you don't mind talking to people, to getting to know people, to know that you're open, extrovert, shit like that. They say that's charismatic, extrovert, spirit. The Greeks say if you have extrovert spirit, then you are automatically a leader. So anybody who's reserved and careful will automatically become a servant, a slave. That's facts. Here's the problem. When the Greeks were invaded by the Romans invaded this culture of the Greeks. But the Romans normally would go into a place and, wipe out the place. When they came to Greece, they saw the beautiful temples, they saw all the gods and, beautiful statues. And then the Romans came to the capital and they saw the library and these scrolls, all of these writings. Towers of scrolls. The Romans were pretty impressed. Now, the Romans are military guys. They're not into thinking. They're just about fighting. They don't understand. So when they came to Greece, they were astonished. They said, you know what? There's no other civilization like this. So instead of destroying the library, the Romans saved it. And the Romans took the books from the library back to Rome. And the Romans studied and adopted Greek theory of leadership. And the Roman Empire ruled the entire world. Those of you who study history, you know that the Romans ruled from Africa all the way to Scotland. The whole world and in between. This is the only country in history that ruled the world. No other country has ever ruled the world. Rome is still the greatest country in history. In history. They ruled from Africa all the way to England, bro. They ruled all over Europe. These one nations, they ruled it. So I want you to think now. The Romans believed that since they destroyed the Greeks, now they are the gods. So the leader of the Roman Empire took the name Caesar. Caesar, by the way, is not a name. It's a title. I want to repeat this again for the niggas in the back. Caesar is not a name. It's a title. It means the son of the gods. And the Romans adopted the Greek theory of leadership, and they ruled the world with that. So anyone who was not a Roman was automatically a slave. Anyone. So they say, when in Rome, right? You don't do what they feel like. You're a slave. You do what the Romans do. They say, now you know where that came from, all right? You guys get it? So the Romans took over the world. I'm going to tell you why you can't define leadership. You know what the Romans did? The Romans destroyed themselves because no one could destroy them. Can you imagine? The Romans destroyed themselves because no one could destroy them. They were so powerful that they destroyed themselves immorally. Another big word for you slow motherfuckers out there. They destroyed themselves immorally. Rome was destroyed, they say, by the loins, that means the balls of the Caesars. The loins. Take a look at it through the internet, Google search it, go in the dictionary. They destroyed themselves through their loins. The sexual life destroyed them. And we're on our way there again. 14 Caesars ruled Europe. 14 of them ruled Europe. Guess how many of them were homosexual? You guys guess yet? Guess. Out of the 14, guess. 12. And they liked little boys. And Rome was destroyed by immorality. We're heading that way again. People think that this is like new, that we're talking about that lifestyle. It's not new. This is something that's been going on forever. Forever. I want you to learn something though. History has a way of revealing things to you. And history has proven that you don't go this way. And I know some people want it one way, but it's the other way. I bet you guys don't know where that came from. You want it one way. You want it one way, but it's the other way. No one could destroy Rome from the outside. So they imploded. They rotted from the inside. That is crazy. Could you imagine you're the most powerful unit, the powerful country in the world? You conquered everything that you laid your eyes upon. Everything. Something that people are striving to do today. But you're so powerful that you had to implode? That's crazy work. That's diabolical. Their value systems collapsed, and they became so preoccupied with the flesh and with pleasure. The Roman Empire rotted. Matter of fact, they were so rotten that they used to kill each other's citizens' brothers to keep the throne. You read some of the stories and you won't believe the stories. They became so immoral, so valueless, that they would kill their own brother to keep the throne, sleep with their own mother and their sister, incest, to keep a child on the throne from their own family because they had no sons or daughters. They would exchange sex. These guys, they destroyed themselves immorally. And there are people today standing up in parliaments and senates, standing up in Congress, and they are fighting for the same thing the Romans were destroyed by. Man, this is crazy what I'm saying. This is crazy. It's kind of scary. It's just scary. Man never learns. We've seen countless movies, TV shows, episodes where they always say, especially from other planets, people from other planets, aliens, you want to call it, who are visiting or who are passing by, humans never learn. You know, first time you make a mistake, that's on you. The second time, that's on me. You don't make the same mistake twice. As I said, you don't make the same mistake twice. I read once in a book, it says, if you make the mistake the second time, it's not a mistake. It was a choice. Are we going to choose this way? Real question. First time, second time, but it's a choice. What will you choose? So the Romans ruled the world, destroyed themselves. Now here's the big part. The Roman Empire did not fail by invasion. It fell by disintegration. That's a big word. Let me break that down. It means it fell apart. Like a piece of cake that just broke up in little pieces. The Roman Empire fell apart. What happened? Everybody scrambled for power. That's it. They scrambled for power. And the result was many little kingdoms. Right? Instead of one kingdom, many little kingdoms. Let me give you some of their names. Spanian, Franco, Belgier. Let me run that back. Spanian, Franco, Belgier. Roman kingdoms. Anglo, Roman kingdoms. Portugal, Roman kingdoms. We know these kingdoms in English. Franco, France. Belgium, Portugal, Anglo. Spanian. So their psyche, their mentality ingrained. We were chosen by the gods to rule anybody who don't have our traits. They were chosen by the gods to be our servants and our slaves. They were not complete divine beings like us. We are superior. So the French and the Spanish, the Portuguese and the British Anglo called them Anglang. Anglos. They decided to expand their kingdom, so they came to Africa, the Caribbean, and we call it colonization. The Spanish, the French, the Portuguese, the British came to Africa and the Caribbean islands. Colonization is the expansion of Greek leadership philosophy. So going to Africa and bringing slaves over as merchandise was easy. Why? Big nose, big lips, dark skin, busy head, black eyes. I found over 1 million servants, they said. 1 million. 1 billion maybe. So they came to the West. They established their plantations, whether it is in Carolina or Florida, Louisiana, Jamaica, Barbados, St. Kitts, St. Thomas, St. Lucia, Guyana, Mexico. They had their plantations, and they couldn't use the people they met here because they killed them out with disease. They wiped out the Indians, the natives. That's why. So they went out and found some divine slaves, chosen by the gods to work the ground. And they brought them over in ships, and the first ones to bring them was the Portuguese. The Portuguese told the British, hey, we found some people to work the farms. You know what the British said? Where you get them from, huh? Where you get them from? Well, they followed us. And they went to southwest coast of Africa. And then the French found out. The French says, uh-oh, you gotta go get some too. And then the Spanish says, we gotta get some too. Everybody started dashing for divine slaves. Remember, divine means you were chosen by the gods. It's not racism. It's leadership philosophy. This is the psyche of the system. As I said, divine means you were chosen by the gods. And it's not racism. It's leadership philosophy. Some of you may have my pigmentation, and millions of us here in this region we understand now, or should now understand, how this all derived from. Again, this is just doing the basic research to go back and to do the digging to understand where this all came from. This is because of leadership philosophy. This is how important leadership is. If the blind lead the blind, we're being led, and they convinced you. Matter of fact, if you read the writings of the oppressor, they wrote things like this. They read the Bible on you. They said, now you must be good slaves. They gave us Jesus. You wonder why, the black Muslims and people like that rose up? Because they even used Jesus as a part of manipulation. Jesus said you must be nice slaves, then you'll go to heaven. This is the philosophy that they came with. If you go to heaven, you'll get robes and shoes. You can't get them now, because we ain't giving you none. But know that when it's time to go to heaven, you'll get them all. Some of y'all wonder why they thought Martin Luther King was a problem, because he was a black man talking loud. You ain't supposed to talk loud. Stay in your southern church, have church with a stained glass window, and shout by yourself. Don't come out here telling us we're wrong. That was the problem. Yeah, Martin Luther King was somebody that they did not like. Malcolm X, another person that they couldn't see. These are people who provoked not only conversation, but change, thought in the black man and woman. it's just pretty sad to know that this all derived from Greek philosophy. But now that you know where it derived from, and to see how far we came from back then until now, and we still got more to go. Still got more to go. We just got to stay on code. That's all I want to see. I want us to continue to stay on code. Quit the drama. For some reason, people are fascinated with drama. It's like that burning of evil inside. I'm a victim of that as well. But we have to kick that habit. It has to go away. People enjoy drama, bullshit, negativity. That's what burns and drives people to keep it going, man. Like, you gotta get rid of that, man. You just got to. Anyways, that's all I gotta say for today. Evan the General signing out. Peace.